This is exciting. So I don't know if I told you this, but I decided to make September barbecue month on the tasting room.
Right.
So Adam Green from Max up in Skiatook.
Hi.
Took or took?
Skiatook.
Took.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I say like a city boy.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a telemarketer, it's Skiatook, and if you're from outside of Skiatook, it's Skiatook.
Yep.
So when I first started out there, I called it Skiatook, and eventually people are like, if you're going to be from here, you need to say it right. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're the maiden voyage of barbecue month, which is
awesome.
Which is cool. I think Justin Carroll from 1907 is going to come on. Donnie Teal's coming on from Buffalo's, which I'm pumped about.
Oh yeah, I was
love
talking to Donnie this morning. So
yeah, and then one of the guys from down the alleyway at Oakhart is going to come on as well. So
Chris?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is going to come
Chris.
on. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun month of podcasts. So thank you for
absolutely
taking the time coming out of the toque to get here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. You brought some goodies too, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's your barbecue like journey? Or did you start doing competitions? Did you just start at home? How did you get into the barbecue world?
I've always kind of been into barbecue, but I didn't really have, the knowledge. And then when I married my wife, her dad had Max, and I was always interested in it. So I just started borrowing stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then I really got into it. And then he had a competition, and I followed him to it and just kind of watched what he did, and it was awesome. So I wanted to do one. So I borrowed a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I didn't own a truck. I didn't have a smoker. I didn't have anything. I just borrowed all of it and went and did my first competition. And I didn't do very well, But I one of the categories there was like 50-something teams. It was in Bixby, and I got like 18th in pork.
Was that the Bixby Blues and Barbecue? Is that what you did?
Yeah, and it was like my third time cooking pork, period. So I was like, I'm just going to start winning these things. And I didn't. We have some cool awards, but never anything big, not like Donnie.
Right.
And so it got really fun for me, and I started nerding out on it, reading articles, watching shows, YouTubing it, and then started making my own spices and my own, my own rubs and creating my own barbecue sauces. And then it turned into like a little side catering, and I was illegally catering at bars and cooking in my backyard.
Like the illegal part, yeah.
Yeah. And I was having a blast doing it. And, I was using all my time off from my part-time job, from my full-time job to do my part-time hobby. And
what were you doing at the time?
By then, I was a manager at Cox Communications here in Tulsa, and second best job I've ever had.
Really?
Loved it there. Oh, yeah, so easy. And so I used all my vacation. Every time I would book like a little corporate catering or something, I would take a vacation day and then go do that.
I love that.
And I had a blast doing it. And one day I went to my father-in-law. We were having dinner over there on a Sunday because I was making all the sauce for the restaurant by then. And I just said, hey, man, I think I want to try this and open my own barbecue restaurant. There's not one in Collinsville. I'm going to open a restaurant in Collinsville. He said, people tell you you're stupid, for trying this. And I said, I know. And he said, they told me I was stupid. And I said, right. He said, that was 25 years ago. It's fair enough. And he said, you ever thought about just buying Max? And I said, no. He said,
I didn't know it was for sale.
He said, well, we're getting close to retirement, and I'm just going to shut it down.
Oh, wow.
He said, do you want to buy it? I said, hell yeah. He said, well, talk to my daughter first. I was like, no, we'll buy it. Yeah. So I talked to her, and it was cool because now I got to do my hobby and then carry on like a legacy and, be a part of something that was really cool. Plus, I bought an established business. And just got to use it my way to grow it. So that was it.
Yeah.
I've never worked in a restaurant in my life, bought a restaurant.
I love this. So the carrying on the tradition in your way versus the way it was, how much change, how sensitive to change were you knowing that it came from the family? Was that a hard balance?
The only change that I really made was just the way everything looked, I slowly added my thing, there wasn't music in there, so I added music, and there wasn't, some of the things that were in there, were dated as far as what me and my wife thought was cool. So we started kind of just switching things out slowly, but as far as recipes go, nothing.
That's awesome.
I added my little menu items, and I started doing like fun special stuff just to keep it interesting for me and to make sure that I could keep learning and progressing, and then but the basic core menu stuff I've never changed.
I love that. I love that. And now you've kind of spread your wings a little bit. I know the Cane's Ballroom.
Yeah.
Mac Love Barbecue.
Well,
right?
it's just
or is
Max
it just Max now?
Yeah,
it was Mac Love Barbecue or something, right?
It was going to be LeMac Bills.
That's what it was.
Going to be
LeMac Bills. Yeah.
me and Chris West and Hunter, and everybody's just super busy with their own stuff. So it just kind of ended up slowly turning into just Max Barbecue.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's just such a special place to me that I really wanted to be in there. So I always said, I mean, when I went to a show and saw Oklahoma Joe's in there, which was how long ago?
It was a while.
Yeah, it's been
a while. Yeah.
I just said, man, I could sell barbecue in here. Yeah, I want to do that.
Do they allow you to open on non-show days?
I could.
Okay.
It's just a little. I don't think it would really work.
Yeah, why would you go to Cane's without a show to eat? I mean, but to get your barbecue instead of driving up to Skiatook.
Sure.
I mean,
you know, I just wonder how much foot traffic it would really bring. I mean, there's so many barbecue options that everybody already knows about down here to try and like set your, to settle in at a place like that, especially with the kind of menu that we use there, because the way that we've built the menu at Cane's is a lot more focused on, our specialty barbecue items that we can serve quickly.
Yeah.
Because you only have people's attention for so long. So
probably easier to eat too, right?
yeah, everything's got to be in a boat or handheld, and it's got to be fast, because as soon as your show starts, they're not interested in you. They're not there for you. It's just a bonus.
Yeah.
So we kind of treat it like a glorified concession stand, but we put our fresh product in there and twist and turn things a little bit.
When you mentioned there's a bunch of established barbecue places down here that people know about, that got me thinking. Obviously, there's differences in barbecue regionality wise.
Sure.
Right. You got the Carolina sauces, the Texas barbecue, the Kansas City, Oklahoma barbecue. But like within an area, let's just take Oklahoma, for example. How do you distinguish yourself from amongst people that cook similar barbecue?
Yeah,
I know it's a big question.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's kind of tough because for the way that we do it, I don't really focus on what anyone does. I love to eat their food, and I love to try new barbecue, and I respect the hustle because I know how hard they work. But my focus is to just keep expanding on our style. I want to feed people our style of barbecue, and if that's Oklahoma style, they can call it Oklahoma style.
What would you call your style?
Max.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
Our rub is homemade. We mix our own rub.
Thank you for bringing those too, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We bring our own, we bring in all of our own spices. We mix our own rub, but it's definitely something that is a little bit different than everyone else's. I think that we cook a little different than a lot of people. Probably, as far as I know, the only other person that really cooks the exact same way as us would probably be Donnie Teal from Buffalo's. And we just use a traditional commercial smoker called Old Hickory Pit, and they're built to be gas. And then there's a firebox in the back where you put your wood, and then you just shut it and set a temperature, and then the whether it's natural gas or propane feeds the fire. Well, the way that we use them like an offset smoker. So instead of feeding fuel to them, we use that smoker door as a baffle for our air. Okay. And we use that to feed our air, and we use nothing but pecan wood. We don't start our fires with anything but the ashes from the day before.
I love that.
So we cook traditionally on newer smokers, and we don't use any foreign fuels other than just pecan wood.
Do you think that imparts, or why did you choose to do that instead of maybe starting with a charcoal bed or whatever people do?
Well, first of all,
is that what was done?
It's just what was done, and if you come in at the end of the day, you just throw a log on and shut the door. It smolders all night. You come in and you just scoop all the ash off, and there's a bed of coals, and you just throw a log on. And by the time you're done trimming your briskets and your porks, your fire's going. So it's just the fires just never go out, except over the weekends. And then you throw a little bit of charcoal in there and you're good to go. But the gist of it was mostly because it's just cheaper. you know?
Fair enough. Yeah.
And it's hard to make money in barbecue. So I definitely, I think most of the ways that I learned it are just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, we don't focus on what other people do. I talk to a lot of other barbecue guys about methods. You know, if I'm trying to improve something, hey, how do you guys finish this? How do you guys wrap this? You know, what do you do for that? But as far as like recipes and what product they're using, a lot of times it's just, I prefer my own trial and error. And a lot of the products that we use are specific. Like we use a basic Polish sausage and we use a Mountain View Hot Link, and it's just what we've always used. And that's why we don't change it. Our customer base has been our customer base since 1985. So even if there's something that I think is better, this is what they love.
Right.
So that's our style. You know, that's just the way it has to be.
Yeah. When you talked about how hard it is to make money in barbecue, how much harder did it become over the last 2 to 3 years with everything that's going on with, I mean, cause look, I don't know if you've ever been to McLeod's barbecue in Hot Springs, but that restaurant's in my family. That's how I grew up eating barbecue. I smoked briskets all the time, or did, until it went from $2 and change a pound to $5 and change, $6 and change a pound. So I can't imagine on your end the spike in food costs. And we were talking today about the potato issues and all that stuff. Like, how much harder has it become to source the same quality of product, but without jacking your prices through the roof in order to account for that difference in cost?
Virtually impossible for a while. I mean, it wasn't impossible. It was just, your week to week was different. Instead of, usually you'll talk to your protein guys with your sales from different sales groups, and hey, what do you guys got your pork butts for this week? And you kind of play the field, see who's got what, and then you order. During COVID, it was like, who the hell has it? That's what I'll get. I'll take it. I don't care what the price is. I got to have my product. And brisket, I mean, the brisket got ridiculous. You know,
Unreal.
At pre-COVID prices, you were at $2 or under $2 on average, and then like the peak during COVID, it was at one point in the sevens. You know, and you're talking about
Made me so mad.
And you're talking about a piece of meat that has a 50% yield. So if you have to take a 20-pound brisket, by the time you trim it and cook it, you have 10 pounds of sellable meat. So if you're paying $7 a pound, you have $15 a pound in it before you put spices on it, put wood on the fire, you know, open your doors, turn your lights on, pay an employee. So when people look at brisket prices and they're like, Jesus, what are you guys trying to do? Make a fortune? We're like, no, we're trying to break even.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to
see
pay
this
my
electricity?
people. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You know, and then you don't, a lot of people don't consider that kind of stuff. And then when they see how prices have skyrocketed on a lot of things, I especially in the past few months, we increased our prices, and it was probably one of the larger ones I've ever done. And because of the way everything was going up, it was just kind of, people were, why the hell wouldn't you? You know?
Okay. Well, I was going to ask how that was received. So obviously with a level head, which is nice.
And you know, product availability has probably been a lot harder than anything else, because it's just, you buy what you can when you can.
Yeah.
You know, and we've been lucky. You know, we stayed afloat. You know, there were some years the past couple of years, you know, we weren't super profitable.
Yeah. What'd you have to do during COVID?
We never, maybe one day we closed. We went to our drive-through only, and I turned into like a barbecue Chick-fil-A, and I numbered all my parking spots.
I remember that.
And I would just, like, people would come through and order, and we'd send them to a spot, and we'd run food out to them, and we just kept going, which was kind of cool because there's nobody in our dining room, so our front door is locked, and we got our favorite music blaring.
Sure,
and so it wasn't bad. It was, but it just felt weird. You know,
Well, it's not the normal
Yeah.
vibe of a restaurant, right?
yeah, you're so used to that social interaction that
Yeah.
whether you want it or not, you know, on a daily basis is there, and then it's just this distance thing, and the only people that you're really talking to every day are, here's your food, have a nice day,
Yeah,
or you know, here's your food, have a nice
Right,
day.
right.
You know, however the person was reacting, and then when we finally got to open up, you know, we had to build the big barriers between the booths, and you know, and do all the extra things, you know, have all the wipes on tables for people, and you know, and it was very uncomfortable when we opened back up, and then you know, things slowly got back to normal, and now we're back to a packed house, and it feels good again. But it was it definitely changed the way everyone I know that has a business does business.
Yeah.
And we're all a lot more guarded, you know, if that makes any sense, you know, financially and people's attitudes have changed, and it's definitely different than it was 2 years ago. The whole world.
Do you see it evolving back to pre-pandemic at all, or is that the new normal, do you think?
I think there's a sense of new normal, but you can kind of see people kind of starting to relax a little bit and get back to normal. Tempers were always really high in restaurants because people wanted you to be open, but they wanted you to be doing what they thought you should be doing, and everybody wanted you to be doing something just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So it was definitely very tense, and you see a lot less of that now. You have a lot, but people are definitely, I think in general, people are definitely a lot more, I want to say hostile.
Yeah.
Quick to get angry.
Right.
Including me.
Yeah.
Everybody's a little bit sick of everything,
Sick
One
of
thing
life.
finishes and then another piece of shit happens and blows up in your face and it's just another thing. But I think in general, people have been very flexible and very cool and communities have been very supportive, and it's been pretty awesome.
That's good. That's good. How do you like this rye?
I love it.
This is the New Riff rye from our Spirits of Legend group. I love what New Riff does, just the embossing of the
that's cool.
the glass on the back and not an actual sticker. But this one's good. I opened it just a minute ago to get some shots that you're probably seeing now if you're watching the podcast of the bottle and pouring into the glass and stuff. But it probably needs to breathe a little bit. I'm curious how it changes when it does. But it's solid.
No, I like it.
Yeah. Are you a bourbon guy? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as I have a friend with a bourbon YouTube channel, and he travels the country, and
What's his name?
Joseph Madrid.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's definitely into it and has a review channel, and people will talk about the notes and stuff, and all I do is taste it and be like, yeah,
It's good.
That's good.
It's good whiskey.
That's
It's good bourbon. Yeah.
He made me do a review with him on his YouTube, and I took a sip and I was like, yeah, it's really good. It's a smooth drink. And when we got off, he's like, dude, when I post that, don't read the comments. I was like, why? He said, smooth is the stuff you're not supposed to say. Everybody's going to make fun of you for saying smooth.
It's it's a whole thing.
Yeah. I said, listen, I don't care.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's smooth to me.
It's smooth to me. I could say maybe it's a little bit lower proof. It's a little bit on the sweet side with vanilla and cinnamon. I said, but I smell smoke all day. So my sense of smell is really different. I'm lucky if I can smell all the things that he's smelling, but if I like it, I like it.
Yeah. It's funny. You walked in with a brown bag and I was like, oh, that smells delicious. Cause I was smelling you. I was smelling Max on you. Yeah.
It's just my clothes.
No need for cologne, no need for deodorant. It's just, you're going to smell like smoke regardless of what you do.
And it's everywhere.
Which is the craziest part of barbecue. Cause I love using my Hasty Bake or my Pits and Spits, but you have to strategically plan it out and have nothing else to do that day because you are going to reek of whatever wood you're using or whatever it is. There's just, and it's not even the size of smoke or pit that you guys are using for the amount of time that you guys use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
those big smokers versus a Hasty Bake doesn't matter. You open that thing a couple times and you're done for the day.
Does your house just constantly smell like
my truck?
Your
house,
truck. Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. My daughter wants nothing to do with barbecue. I mean, she's 9 and she'll come to the restaurant and be like, you hungry? She's like, yeah, let's go to McDonald's. You can have anything you want. Do you want anything? No, I don't like it.
How many kids you have?
1.
1?
Yeah.
You said 9?
Yeah, she's 9.
That's getting to the attitude era, getting to the attitude age.
Oh yeah, she's got it.
Got it?
Yeah. But she's got a great sense of humor that I don't know. She's nuts, jump around and scream, but then she'll just say really subtle, funny things, and thank goodness for social media because it reminds you every time, like an old video
you're
that
not
you
alone.
posted or something, and you pull up, and you're like, oh my god, I remember when she did that.
Yeah,
walking around with her, with her panties and a cowboy hat and got her phone stuffed in her panties or paint all over her face or slinging mud somewhere. And now she's 9 and she still a little bit does that stuff, but you get all the constant reminders. So every day my wife will send me look at this was 4 years ago. And I just remember the things that she says because I have a horrible memory. So
I love that.
I love going back and looking at all that stuff, but she's awesome.
It's probably comforting for parents too to look at social media and see other people post their crazy ass kids, and then you're like, oh, I'm not alone. Okay, so this isn't rare. Yeah.
Oh, their daughter does that too.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. That's one of the guys that works with me at Cane's, his daughter's 9, and sometimes my kid will we let her kind of pick her clothes, pick whatever she wants. So she has some crazy weird outfits, and then she has some outfits that are really normal. And the other day she was walking out, and we were going down to Cane's for brunch. And we walked out of the house, and she had one of those like old school beach hats on that like sits down over your head, and it had like smiley faces all over it. And she was wearing like Vans and like these weird shorts, and then like a belly shirt. And I was like, it looks like Fred Durst's little sister. Like, I hate that hat. And my wife's like, don't say anything. I said, yeah, I know. I just hope one of the dogs gets it. Yeah.
If it disappears, it wasn't me.
Yeah, but I just let it go, because she's like, it'll develop into a really nice sense of style. And I said, okay, we'll see.
I love that. So I'm guessing she doesn't have the restaurant itch, or you don't see her going in the direction of like taking over one day or anything like that?
If she ever does, it would absolutely blow me away.
Would you want her to? Or is it, because it is, I mean, you've talked about how it's hard to make money. We haven't even talked about the hours yet, which I want to get into, like how early you have to get there to smoke the meat that is served that day. I mean, it's not an easy, like of the restaurant world, it's probably one of the hardest.
I think so.
Yeah. What am I trying to say? Not almost a denominations like church, but like, types of food to open a restaurant and do is barbecue. Has to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's not like and no offense to any of those places, but I mean, you don't just show up to open up your sandwich shop and just turn the lights on and, get your bread that you had proofing and throw it in the oven and go. I mean, you're hours and hours before you open. So what is your normal, like, I say I don't know if you're the one that actually gets there to do it, but what is the normal like schedule for getting all that prepped and ready? I have somebody that comes in at 4:00 in the morning and gets the fires going, trims all of our meats, gets everything on for the day. And then I have another one that comes in at 5 a.m. and starts doing the prep on the sides, putting everything together.
So every day you make fresh sides and all that? Every day. I love that.
Yeah. And then I have another one that comes in at 7, and he finishes loading the smokers, and then I come in at 8, 8:30, sometimes 9 if I've been, But and then we open at 11 when a few more come in, and then I'm there most of the time till 8 o'clock at night.
It's a day, man.
It's 12-hour days, 12, 13 hours every day.
You take weekends off?
Mostly, there's always stuff to do on the weekends, but it's minor stuff. If we got to run to Sam's or we got to run restaurant supply, I throw my kid in the car and we go have lunch and go to Curtis,
go to McDonald's,
restaurant supply, and go to McDonald's. Right. If I can talk her into something good, we go there. Yeah. So there's hours on the weekend, but it's usually just some communication and picking stuff up. Mostly off, never completely off.
Being in Skiatook and being so close to the lake, do you see like, not peaks and valleys, but do you see business ramp up during lake season and then come down back to like normal at other times, or is it kind of consistent throughout?
I think in general, barbecue is a little bit seasonal. And you'll see peaks in the summertime. And a lot of that is because we're definitely a destination barbecue place, Being 30 minutes outside of Tulsa, you have people coming from Tulsa and they'll say, we drove all the way.
As if it was like a stop and get gas and snacks. And
you're like, it took you like 25 minutes to get here. But I get it. And I like that. I like that we're a destination. I like that people are like, ooh, let's go to Max this week. But also because of lake traffic, we also see, you have families that have boats up at the marina or houses up at the lake. And you see them in the summertime, boats coming in and out of the parking lot. You'll see them at the end of the day. Yeah. Or they'll be coming through at the beginning of the day and picking food up and they're gone for the weekend. So you see peaks in the summertime, but there's always something going on where you have, there's wedding season. Wedding season for barbecue places is a big deal too.
Oh, no kidding. The catering. Yeah.
And then there's holidays too, corporate parties and family parties. And then there's turkeys at Thanksgiving. So you definitely see peaks and valleys like January and February. If there's a barbecue restaurant that says they crush it in January and February, I want another secret, or they're lying.
Or they're lying. But here's what I haven't understood. I don't know why barbecue is a summer seasonal food when you think of the cooking of it. It's already hot outside.
Yeah. I love the winter.
And then you go stand out by a hot grill or a hot smoker. It make like my favorite, the reason I did September as barbecue month, my favorite time to cook barbecue is in the early spring and in the fall. Yeah. And in the winter. Yeah. Because it's like, there's nothing worse than it being 115 degrees with the heat index and then you're cooking on a 260 degree smoker or whatever. Like, it's miserable.
I'll cook outside at home like twice during the summer.
Yeah.
If I cook, like I'm just done.
So I was going to ask that. How much barbecue do you actually eat? I mean, if you're working 12-hour days, you probably eat at work.
Yeah, I'll eat a little bit at work, and we usually
if you're
just
not working,
do something off kilter. Like I can't. My wife will not go out to eat barbecue with me. So if I do go eat barbecue, I will pop into other barbecue restaurants and try those. I like to go down to Wellston, see my buddy Levi at Butcher Barbecue.
It's a great place.
Yeah, I've been over to Oak Heart a couple times. Those guys are awesome.
They do a good job as well, yeah.
I've been over to eat with Justin before. Donnie's so close to me in Sperry, and he's kind of like, I call him my dirty uncle.
Yeah,
you know. So
I'll have to bring that up.
Yeah. Tell him I said that.
I will.
And he'll mess with me. He'll show up at the restaurant, sometimes, and it's kind of nice. He's family. I mean, he's ask him where he got his trailer.
Okay.
But him and my father-in-law Mac go way back.
Gotcha.
So I got introduced to Donnie when I got introduced to that, and I've gotten really close to him. Like he's definitely like one of the barbecue guys that I look up to. So I have called him before with questions and be like, have you ever thought about this? Or if I'm hanging out the trailer and he's doing something, I'm watching, picking it apart. Does that make a difference?
Because I'm curious to ask him how many awards he's won. I mean, I don't even know if he has a running tally.
A lot.
I mean, it's a ton.
Yeah.
He's probably the most decorated pitmaster in Oklahoma, right?
Him and two other guys are probably all neck and neck.
Yeah.
But Donnie's been doing it for so long. So Dave Bosca, his son Levi owns Butcher Barbecue Stand, and Dave is fantastic, and he's won a lot of stuff. And then Travis Clark from Clark Crew Barbecue, he's won a bunch of stuff. But Donnie's been doing it, I think, longer than both of them, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he's probably got a lot more awards.
How do you feel about Aaron Franklin?
I think that he made barbecue more mainstream and popular.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good to call attention to it, and I don't. I don't. That's sensitive.
I know. I but we can go there. It's okay. Oh, let's talk about this too, real quick.
Some
this
Logic
is
Reg 18.
Man, come on.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day and I really wanted it, but I was like, I don't know.
If you see it again, do it.
I'm excited to try this. 18.
Yeah. I love this.
Cheers. Thank you for bringing that.
My pleasure.
So let's dive in. Well, let's dive into the sensitive subject because I think I know where you're going to go with this, but I want to hear you say it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So I try not to hate on Texas barbecue, and it's not because I don't like it. It's because I like seeing variations in barbecue. I like to see what everybody's flair is. What do you do with your seasoning that's different than somebody else's, and what do you do, with your brisket that's different than anybody else's, and I think that Aaron Franklin made barbecue so exciting for people, and it also made the science of it really cool to see how he breaks it down, why he breaks it down. I mean, the guy has a James Beard Award. He's not an idiot. He's a genius.
He knows what he's doing.
And he knows what he's doing, and I respect that part of it. The other part of it, though, that I thought that has just bugs me is that it's turned into, and it's not Aaron Franklin's fault, but that's just the only way,
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Right. Which actually turned out to be bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Because the guy that left Franklin's and went and opened, I'm going to forget the name of it, somewhere outside of Dallas.
Yeah.
But he mentioned it's a Lowry seasoning salt.
Yeah.
Like it's not just salt and pepper.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Yeah.
And then you have the people that have bought into what he says so hard that it's like, if you do anything else, it's just not good. And
now are you talking in generality or in specifics? Like talking temperature and time, or you talk like what are you?
Or just like whether it's your method or whether it's your spices or whether it's how you finish or what you wrap with or what you cook on or what wood you
3, 2, 1, man. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah,
3
3, 2, 1.
ribs.
Your method. It's got to be. This is how it's done. Well, it's not how it's done. It's how he does it.
Right.
And so to that aspect of it, it annoys me, because I feel like a lot of times when people focus on that so hard, it makes their food like everyone else's food. Like when I go try someone's brisket, if they're all using the same seasonings, I don't know what sets you apart. if you're all using post oak and you're all using an offset smoker and you're all wrapping with this paper and you're all using salt and pepper and garlic,
What does set it apart at that point?
What makes it yours?
Unless you fucked up and didn't pull it in time or pulled it too
Right.
late or too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do to put your spin on it? You know, I understand that Central Texas is what a lot of people like with their barbecue, and I understand, and I'm totally cool with that. But what did you do to set it apart to make it yours? You know?
Do you think they have to rely on their sides? Because you're right. You're 100% right. Like there's no, between Law Barbecue and Franklin's and I mean all these places in Austin, like they all kind of cook the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
they're all great.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and they're all really good at what they do. But at the same time, when I have stopped ordering brisket at any place that does that when I go travel, because I know what it's going to taste like. I know it's going to be tender. I know it's going to be nice and smoky. I know it's going to have some salt and pepper and garlic on it. And why should I pay $40, $36 to try it? Give me a beef rib. Let me try your pork ribs. Give me your pulled pork and give me some of those sides. Yeah. You know, and that's generally how I eat barbecue anyway, because I'm originally from Tennessee, so I grew up
I didn't know that.
Pork and slaw.
Yeah,
and,
so you had that's Carolina barbecue, right?
Yeah, we're in between there.
Sauce.
So we had a lot of there were places that had vinegar sauce, but we were also, you know, like 5 hours from Memphis. So So you know, you got
had some great barbecue in Memphis too.
Yeah. Well, and I grew up, you know, in an area in Chattanooga, so there were places that would, you know, some of these old guys, you know, they would boil their ribs and then they would pull them, sauce them, and then they would fire them off, and that was barbecue.
Interesting.
You know, and there'd be a jar of pickled pig's feet at the register and some collard greens. And
collard greens I can get down on.
I love some collard greens too.
Yeah. Justin's at 1907, his collard greens.
I haven't had them yet.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. I've always messed with them and said I was going to put them on the menu, and I just never have. I don't need another side.
Right. Being from Chattanooga, are you a T.O. fan?
Yeah.
Because he went to Chattanooga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just random sports knowledge, throwing it out there.
Yeah.
No, but those, you have to try their, and here's what I love about the barbecue community, and I'm not in it, so I want to ask you a question about it as well. But I went and had, I don't remember when the first time I had his collard greens were. It might have been Thanksgiving 2 years ago, maybe, when I moved back from Denver, which needs good barbecue, by the way. So if you want to open up a third location of Max, you can take it up to Denver.
Run it up there.
There's a couple, but that's it. For a city of that size, there needs to be more. But I'd messaged him on, I think it was Instagram, and he gave me his recipe.
Yeah.
Just like, here's how I made it. Da, da, da. So how, to me, I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because everybody barbecues in one way or another.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in their backyard or in competitions or whatever. But it seems just like a very inviting and open community. Is it within, like, owners of barbecue restaurants, like you talked about, like you can go watch somebody do something and ask questions? Is that commonplace no matter where you go? Yeah,
it's pretty common. I have multiple barbecue friends that if they walk to the front door of my restaurant instead of just walking in the back and saying hi, like, it pisses me off.
No shit.
Yeah. Don't, if I know you, just come in the back, hang out.
I'm gonna start coming in the back then.
Just do it.
Yeah.
There's always something like that back there.
Well, I'm definitely coming in the back. Yeah.
So it's definitely open, but I mean, barbecue. I mean, what other restaurant is more community than barbecue? You know, what family gets together on a Sunday and goes in and makes bread dough and, you know,
not to shit on the bakers in the world, but
but I mean,
it's
not a community thing. So it's so much it's so normal for, you know, you brought some beans over. This guy brought some hamburger meat over. This guy brought this, and we're all going to stand outside around the grill.
To me, it's family. Like, that's just what I think of.
It's a family atmosphere, and that's why we have 2 big, long picnic tables in our restaurant that people end up randomly sitting next to people they don't know, and you get to know people because it's just a community way of eating. So I don't know that there's another more social way of eating than barbecue, in my opinion.
No, you're probably right. But I love the family style type of eating. That's like my favorite. Yeah. Whether it's tapas and smaller plates that you share, or just massive amounts of food that you just pick at. So going to places and getting platters, you know, barbecue places, and just putting it on the table and like, hey.
If you go out to eat with my family anywhere, we eat like that anyway. Yeah. If we randomly went out to eat together, I'd be like, oh, dude, what's that? And I just grab it. Yeah. And I just eat, like, we all eat off each other's plates.
I'm starting to rub off on my friends. I went to New Orleans for my buddy's wife's birthday a few months ago. and they were it started off very much like, I'm going to order my entree, you order your entree, you order your entree. By the end of it, it was like, all right, what are we getting?
Yeah.
And it was this
I'll get
table-wide
this,
food.
you get that.
Yeah.
And then we just shove it in the middle and everybody just starts eating.
That's the
off
best
of
way
it.
to eat.
Yeah. You get to try everything.
1,000% the best way to eat.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. You don't have to give me places that you had these 2 experiences, but what was the worst barbecue you've ever had? And what made it that way is the more important thing.
So the worst barbecue I ever had was in Tulsa.
No shit.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
But it was not, yeah. So I won't say the place.
No, don't. No.
But
off camera,
Yeah.
but not right now.
But it was just, everybody has an off day. I have them. There's days where I just can't get everything right. But it was just like the place was dirty. The food was undercooked, no seasoning. Service was garbage. It was just from start to finish. Just the experience was all wrong. And it was cold. The food. It was just
That's
right across
all the way
the board.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was excited about it, and
That makes it even worse.
yeah, and so it was a huge letdown, and I've never said the name of the place. Obviously my wife and my father-in-law, because my father-in-law was like, "This place we're trying," and then I called him and I was like, "You're so wrong." And I told him about it, and he said, "Man, I don't know." So, sorry.
You're good. You're good. It's funny, like every once in a while, like every second episode, someone's phone will buzz or whatever. It just happens.
Yeah.
We're always available, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it was not good. And then as far as best barbecue,
You knew where I was going with the next question. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Best barbecue.
That to me is a harder question to answer than
That's
worse.
that's a long answer.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of barbecue moments where I go, Jesus Christ, and all of them, it was at multiple places. So like, I would have to say the first time I had like brisket that blew my mind was in Austin at Le Barbecue. And I had not had true Central Texas brisket, and they were still in like a little food truck park.
Yeah.
So we went in there, and they were past. There was some brewery. There was a big festival going on. It might have been during South by Southwest. I'm not sure, but there was just we were only there for like a day, and we went down there and ate. And I went up and ordered, and I ordered the way I want some ribs, some pulled pork, some sausage, picked a couple sides. And I said, and I just want to taste brisket, because I didn't want to order it. So the guy just like cut a little piece off and like handed it to me out the window. And I took a bite, and I was like, oh shit, give me a slice of brisket. So, we had that. And
On second thought.
yeah,
Give me some of the
second thought,
brisket.
I'll have that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the most perfectly cooked. I immediately, like, not ashamed, I was like, what kind of brisket are they using? So on the way out, I was like creeping around the dumpster in the back, like looking to see what kind of. I was like, they're just using like regular. They were using prime briskets, but it was just your regular Packer brisket. And I was like, this is impressive. It was pretty cool. And the vibe was so neat that it just added to it.
Right.
And the people were so cool that it added to it. And it was also my first experience like with brisket that way. So I thought it was awesome. But then Pecan Lodge,
Oh, that's another good one.
I hit Pecan Lodge on the way home, ordered brisket. It's the exact same thing. And I was like, okay. But then from there, I don't know if they still do them. They're fried ribs.
Oh, I haven't had those.
Oh my God. It's just like a spare rib, but they fry them, dunk them in sauce, and spread all kinds of crazy stuff on top of them. It was awesome. Their vibe was cool too. Like they're out, the way that they do everything. So I thought that place was really cool. You go down to like Butcher Barbecue stand. I mean, Levi, I keep going back to that, but that dude has put such his own spin on everything that it's not like anything.
Yeah, you just have to get lucky and get there when they're open.
Yeah.
It's what, Tuesday through Thursday or something
It's
like that?
Thursday through Sunday.
That's what it is, Thursday through Sunday.
And you got to make it a day. You know, you know, he's one of my best friends. I still wait in line.
I love that.
He jokes about it too. He's like, I make my mom wait in line. He said, because, you know, all these people, you know, are here. And if they see me usher somebody out and they get their food first, he said, it makes me look bad. He's like, so everybody waits in line. And he said when his mom comes to eat and she's in line, he always like goes out and yells. He's like, hey, everybody, look, my mom's in line.
So relax.
Yeah, so chill. But it's also a super cool environment because, I mean, they're just out there messing with everybody. And, like, that's my buddy's place. And his food is such a different kind of, like, it's like a twist on like, competition barbecue. So the flavors are totally different. It's just not anything what you would expect. So, like, I always like to try people's barbecue with an open mind. I don't want to have my style and expect it because you're always going to be disappointed if you're comparing it to like what you cook at home or what your favorite barbecue place is.
Sure.
So
what defines competition barbecue versus barbecue? Like normal barbecue or whatever.
Yeah, competition barbecue to me I call it meat candy. I mean, it's you have to take into account that when you're cooking for a competition, and Donnie can probably say it better than I can. Like when we're cooking at barbecue competitions, you have to remember that you're going to be on a table with 5 other teams, and it's a blind tasting, and you have 6 judges on a table, and all these judges are going to take one bite. So how much flavor and everything can you pack into one bite? So if it's just like my ribs that I serve at the store, it's just a good rib, and it's just a good rib. But if the next guy has, you know, brown sugar and butter, and he's injected it with whatever, you know, then like when they take that bite, I call it cheesecake. It's just rich, you know, like you need a glass of milk when you're done with it. Right. But that flavor, you know, sticks with them. So you have to be a lot more like over the top with everything with barbecue, with competition barbecue, which is partly why I still wish I loved them, but it got to the point where you had to do so much to it that it just got to be kind of a pain for me.
Yeah. That's interesting. You're 100% right though. Cause I've been a judge at the Hasty Bake competition for a few years. They changed it this year and did the Grill Fest instead of the competition, but in previous years. And you're right. I mean, you take one bite, and I've taken my answer to the worst barbecue I've ever had would have been at that event. Yeah. Cause somebody tried to make alligator ribs, and it was like biting a white and pink shoe. Like it was disgusting.
I guess I've been into raw chicken as a judge one time. Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't even taste it. Like I took a bite, pulled it back, and just
spit it out. Yep. Yeah, the alligator was rough. And I appreciate the hustle, trying to be different, trying to serve something different, but don't fucking do that again.
To cook.
I don't know how you cook it.
Yeah.
I'm out there and fry it.
Yeah.
And then it tastes like chicken.
Well, it's such a lean piece of meat.
Yeah.
You gotta cook it forever, and then you gotta mix it with a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
This was literally just an alligator rib. Like, it was not good. Like I didn't even taste salt and pepper. Like it was
I got nothing.
It was so gross. It was so gross. And luckily I don't know who made it. It was a blind tasting, so I could talk shit on it all day. And if you're listening, I'm sorry,
you don't
but
have
it was
to
gross.
feel bad.
Yeah, it was real gross.
Don't do it again.
No, ever. I'll let you get out of here on this. Let's talk about your rubs, because now you're packaging them, you're selling them. Yeah. What 2 did you bring?
So we have our standard rub that we use at the restaurant on pretty much everything that we cook, and it's our own blend. And then I'll have an idea of what I think I like on my steaks and burgers, pork chops, vegetables, eggs, like just kind of an all-purpose thing. And I called that one the steak and burger, and I developed that one with Townsend Spice, and they've just started packing it for me. And I've always sold our rubs in, you know, little containers. I just put it in like a styrofoam cup and put a lid on it and sell it to somebody. And finally I was like, why wouldn't I just have it out there done? So we finally got it done, and it's both of those are here, and Hasty Bake's carrying them, and Craig up at Sausage Brothers and Skiatook is carrying them. And so, but I'm not. It's just fun for me.
Yeah.
It's just branding, bro.
It's totally branding. It's smart that you did that. It's better than a styrofoam cup.
Yeah, way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Craig real quick before I let you go. How cool is it to have, because he left Burnco, came up there, opened up Sausage Brothers. I'm assuming Well, I'm that might be a bad assumption. I was going to say I'm assuming you buy a bunch of stuff from them, but I don't know if that's the case.
We do on occasion.
Okay.
Yeah. I love having him there.
Yeah.
You know, and when he was looking for a spot, there was a butcher there, and they were on their way out. The family was about to close the business down, and you know, I'd heard about that, and I just said, dude, you just got to come up. Just come up and check out a spot. Just go look, you know. Don't go to Owasso. You know, don't go, you know, just come look. So it worked out. And plus it's nice because, you know, you never know where your day's going to end up. And every once in a while when you're having a bad day, when Craig just walks to the back door,
Makes
hey,
it
buddy.
better. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Okay, so a little bit of an abrupt ending there. My fault. We're professionals here at Grassfire. I promise I didn't plug in the camera correctly, so it killed the last like 30 seconds of our conversation, but you got the majority of it. Thanks again to Adam for coming on, which is what you missed. Good talk about Sausage Brothers and Craig and everything with Max Barbecue up in Skiatook. Next week is going to be a fun one. We mentioned Donnie Teal a few times. He's one of the most decorated and award-winning pitmasters here in the state of Oklahoma. He will be on the podcast next week as Barbecue Month continues. Thank you guys for listening. I promise the camera won't die next time. We'll see you on the next episode.